जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरावनचारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे। पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयं मुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. Hare Krishna. When we were coming from Houston to Dallas, on the way, on the side of the road, some places we parked our vehicle. Uh, we saw that very meticulously the man has made arrangement for the passers-by to have a very good comfort. You know, whatever you would expect, you would want to have, they have arranged it. For example, they have arranged the tables and chairs, neatly designed. A family can sit together and eat. They have arranged. They have made some arrangements for the play or sports for the children. So children can, the sliding down and all those kinds of things. So they have very beautiful gardens with flowers. So when I saw that, I felt that you can see, of course, touching that was a hotel or something where one can go and eat. You will see that why only here, even if you go to McDonald's, for example, every time a child goes, they give some little toys. So child will next time invite the parents that we have to go there. Because they say, next time you come, now you get one elephant, next time 2 elephants, and then one small toys. Next time 3 elephants, and if you have completed your 3 times, you will get a horse, and then 2 horses, then 3 horses. After that, you will get a chariot, and get a king, and then get a queen. So they keep on adding like this. The whole idea is why man makes such meticulous arrangements for the comfort of the people to attract the customers, so that he can have some business, he can make some money there. You will see that. Actually, one most common observed thing all across the globe is people's inability to see the hand of God in this world. But man makes more and more finer and better arrangements for his own comfort, his comfort, his luxuries, his enjoyment, his pleasure. You go to the airport, inside the aeroplane or in the airport, what kind of meticulous arrangements are made to give you direction, make you comfortable, the temperature of the air, the seating arrangements, the facility for people to move about. So when it comes to his own comfort, man is so meticulous. When it comes to comforting God and making, satisfying God and pleasing God, he's a big zero. Big zero. He is very eager to make very tall tower skyscrapers, 200 story or 150 story buildings. But he will not build such a gopuram for the Lord like they have built in Srirangam. You will see that because of spiritual blindness, like Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra means attached to kingdom and spiritually blind. Therefore, you will see in all Srila Prabhupada's books, fundamentally Prabhupada begins with this, because there is no question of understanding the pastimes of the Lord unless one has a very deep-rooted faith in the Lord's presence everywhere in this universe. Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam chami pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachame na pranashyati. Krishna says in Gita that one who sees me everywhere and in everything, for him I am never lost, he says, at any point of time. And he is never lost to me. That means he is always in my glance. I keep such a devotee within my glance. And such a devotee never misses me at any moment, he says. So Prabhupada gives an example, just like a farmer, not a farmer, like a kumhar, potter. A potter has a wheel, which he rotates the wheels and he moves his hands in a very artistic way by which he can bring a pot. And he makes pots of different shapes. Some pots are long pots, some are fat pots, some are flat ones, like a plate type of thing. So he knows how to move the hand in such a way that he can make those different parts. And then he stacks them in a shop. Very uh, long shop. Sometimes there are 200, 300 objects are kept and they're dried and they're ready for sale. Keeps it. So Prabhupada gives this analogy in the Bhagavatam purports you must have read. He says that those varieties of parts with varieties of shapes and forms, they are the 8.4 million species of life. And this wheel with which he rotates it and makes, that is the Prakriti or the material nature. And now the potter has gone for lunch, Prasad. He's gone home. Now when people come and see, two things only they see. They see the varieties of parts and they see the wheel. So most of the fools will come to a conclusion that all these parts have come from the wheel, because they may see one of the parts half made in the wheel. They may see that and they may come to know that, oh, all these are coming from the wheel. But a wheel cannot produce on its own all these parts. Somebody has to design them. Somebody has to mold them in varieties of shapes and forms. You can see all over the world, 8.4 million species. Some are fair, some are black, some are tall, some are short, some are fat, some are thin. Isn't it? Some are ugly looking, some are handsome looking. And not only that, there are varieties of living forms also. And each living form has a particular type of food also. Everybody cannot eat the same. You can see that a tiger will eat flesh but will never eat grass. A cow will always eat grass, and a cow will even die, but cow will never eat flesh. You will see that. Man is the only fool who eats everything. Isn't it? You know, any damn thing he will eat anywhere. So you will see that for every creature, different type of particular eatables are created according to their gunas, according to the three gunas in which they are born. So this is the very first and most fundamental thing that one should be able to see in the creation, that the mother is there, the children are there, there must be father. Prakriti is a mother, we are all children. So when there is a mother and mother is sitting with a child in her lap, immediately one can remember or one can understand there must be father. Father is gone out somewhere, but he may not be seen immediately, but without father, the Prakriti cannot produce a mother. And just like if you have a paper and you have some iron filings, you take a magnet and you rotate, then all the iron filings will move like a ghost. You have seen that? They move like this, and they move around. As you keep moving behind, that's how the movement of all these things is made possible by the magnet's movement. Similarly, there are many moving things you can see in this world. You can see the sun shines in the morning and the sun moves from east to west. The moon shines in the evening. When the sun is setting, then the moon starts shining. Like the like you can see, sun is like the light for the whole day for people to work, and the factories are using the sunlight. The fire principle comes from the sun. The night when you go to sleep, you see the night light, moonlight. So it's a dim light so that living entities can go to sleep. Otherwise, if another sun comes, again you will be sitting with your laptop, isn't it, whole night? So you can see that the sun shines, the flowers blossom, the fruits ripen, all these activities are happening by the Lord's movement. So these movements, in the Bhagavatam, there is a verse which says that Madhvayat vativatoyam suryastapati madhvayat varshati indro dahatyagnir mrityuscharati madhvayat. He says, out of fear of me, the sun shines. Out of fear of me, the fire burns. Out of fear of me, the wind blows. Out of fear of me, the Lord of showers, Indra, brings forth rains. Out of fear of me, the death takes its toll on all living entities. Like that he says. But what is this fear? This is actually not a fear or any threat or anything for the devatas. This is actually the devatas' affection for the Lord, due to which they fear to displease him. fearing to displease the master is another sign of love. One sign of love is to do something for the pleasure of the master. Another thing is to fear to displease him. So the devatas are very careful never to displease him. You will see, never in the history of this whole universe has anybody seen that one day sun got up at 10 o'clock saying, sorry, I got little late today. No, he's rubbing his eyes and coming, all of you got up, I am little late today. He will never say that. Not even once. You will find in the millions of years has passed. Nor did Yamaraj any time commit mistake that, one living entity somehow slipped out in his computer mistake. And is roaming around for last 10,000 years, somehow undetected. You'll never find that. So they are so meticulous in their job. Nobody can do like that. It's spotless, we can say. Every one of them, all the devatas, they work like that. They function very, very perfectly. So Prabhupada gives the example in his purports that Pacific Ocean doesn't swell beyond its brink. You can stand right next to it. Although you are so tiny, ocean is so vast, but you can confidently say that it will not swell beyond its brink. Because that is under the control of the Lord. Has put a line and said you cannot cross this. Now somebody may ask, but then how did the tsunami waters cross and kill 4 lakh people? Never in the history it has happened like this. Now you may wonder, that means is the nature breaking the God's laws? The answer is not needed to be given by the religionists. The answer is given by the scientists. Scientists say that it is due to environmental disorder created by us. That means you will see God made this. God brought about order. Man brought about chaos. You will see God made the countryside. Man made the city. You will see that. And you can see how beautiful countryside is and how messy the city is. You can see that. We were in the New York City, the middle of New York City. And also one more place, in Houston, they were saying there is tremendous pollution, they were saying. The Texas, down south, they were saying. Actually, things in underground should not be taken out. According to the Vedas, don't dig the ground, go deep and take out, because it's not that the Vedic times, the petrol, diesel, they didn't know about it. They knew that you should not dig the earth too deep and bring out those things, because those things will be very harmful. But now man is going and bringing all the petroleum products. You will see the petrol, see the diesel, see the plastics, see the polyvinyl and all these things, usage of things. All of them are creating havoc in the universe, all over the world. Man thought he is more smart, and he proved himself a fool. Like you will see, God created a horse carriage, purposes, and man thought, why to have a horse carriage converted into horsepower? He made it like that. And man may compare and say, look at the horse carriage, look at our motor car, which is faster? Motor car is faster. So we are more intelligent than God. God only gave a horse carriage. But man doesn't realize motor car is emanating carbon monoxide. It's depleting ozone layer and producing so much pollution and poison. But God created horse, which passes tool, which is also organic only. No harm. And motor car, you hear motor car accident, there are hundreds and thousands of accidents all across the country. Yearly you can see the motor, go to the Google search and put how many motor car, automobile accidents. You will never hear a horse carriage, caused some 200 people died. You don't hear that. So many times man sees only short-term benefits. He doesn't see the long-term benefits. So one should, just as a magnet's movement causes the movements of the iron filing, similarly God is the magnet who is moving the whole universe. Is called as the operator of the cosmic machine. So this is where the basic knowledge begins. When you meet new people, these are things we should talk to them to begin with. But the knowledge doesn't end here. Here is the real beginning. But as one proceeds, one has to come to the point of understanding of how the Lord is a very beautiful person. The first preliminary step of understanding God is Param Jyoti. Is a bright, brilliant light. In the Bhagavatam it is explained. Then as one advances, one sees that brilliant light is just like the sun. If you keep 1,000 oil pots, in every pot the sun will reflect. So initially man's understanding is Lord is like a bright light, like Moses saw the burning bush. But no, that is not the only thing said. You will also find Abraham, for example, saw the lotus feet of God. He saw like Ainun, it says in Quran. Ainun means eyes. Waj means the face. So these are all the descriptions of the form of God also explained. So you can ask any Muslim, why is the word Waj used? Why is the word Ainun used? Eyes is used. Feet is used. When Abraham saw, they will not have any explanation. Many of the Muslims think God is impersonal. If you go to mosque, they don't have a form. So Prabhupada went to Iran. There was one Prabhu, what was his name? Hare Rishi Prabhu. So, of course, they didn't have any deity in that ground floor. In the first floor, they had kept in a room. Prabhupada asked, why you don't have any deity below? Why did you take them up? So they were saying some Muslim boys come to meditate in the temple also. If they see deities, they will not worship. They had kept. Then Prabhupada said, what kind of religion is this? You cannot understand the personality of God. Then how can you love Him? How can you serve Him? How can you connect with Him? So, therefore, from Paramjyoti, the next step above is Sarvabhuta Guhavasam. The Lord who lives in the heart of every living being as super soul. Then Bhagavantam Madokshajam, the ultimate understanding. Bhagavantam, the word Bhaga has come in 6 opulences. Shadaishwarya Purna Krishna Hoya Suryo Pama, it says. So Shadaishwarya Purna is called Bhagavantam. Adhokshajam means, although he has 6 opulences, you cannot access him unless our heart is filled with love. Therefore, he is called Adhokshaja, beyond the range of the senses, or the mundane senses, beyond the range of mundane senses. So, that is the ultimate understanding. So, when you come to the understanding of the personality of Godhead, like many of us have experienced when we chant the holy name, it can be like climbing a mountain, or it can be like a big struggle, and there is a reason for that. Why it is like that? Because we don't have a wholesome consciousness of absorption in the Lord and His qualities and pastimes and activities. One of the main reasons is we are ignorant of it. We aren't vastly read. We are not very knowledgeable. But even after we become knowledgeable, one has to have the spirit of devotion, without which that knowledge will not come to help. It is not just a technical knowledge. Somebody can quote shlokas, somebody can, there are many scholars who have done doctorate thesis in Jiva Goswami and doctorate thesis in Gita Govinda and things like that. And they don't have an iota of devotion. So the vast volume of information alone doesn't, touch the Lord. So one has to have a firm faith, innocent faith, like a childlike devotion, as we say, like Prahlada had devotion. So that type of devotion only can capture the Lord. In order for us to be able to access that devotion which we are talking about, one has to take a peep into the heart of Krishna. Somebody may say, are you not ashamed to say that you can peep into the heart of Krishna? Are you so qualified that you can see what is Krishna thinking? Actually, it is not at all difficult to know the heart of Krishna, provided you have connection with a pure devotee. Because it is said, one time Srila Prabhupada was approached by Jadurani Mataji. She said, Prabhupada, I was drawing the picture of Super Soul. I suddenly got a doubt whether Super Soul in our heart is sitting or standing or reclining like this. Lord Vishnu lies in Anantashesh. So I wasn't very sure. So I wanted to check with you how I should draw it. Prabhupada said, that will take you 10,000 lifetimes to know. I said, Prabhupada said. She said, really? I have to wait till then? Prabhupada said, no, now I will tell you. Super soul is standing in the heart. You draw like that, Prabhupada said. And then Prabhupada added, if you are in connection with the pure devotee, you can save 10,000 lifetimes and you can instantly know the truth. He said. Because dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahajano yena katasapant, it is said. So the guhya dharma can be easily accessed when one is in touch with the knowledge abarded by a pure devotee, Lecture Prabhupada. So, so I was telling you, how can we take a peep into the heart of Krishna? Peeping into the Krishna's heart means, for that one should have access. So we will see today a little bit about that, how we can see that. So Prabhupada's Bhaktivedanta purports are very revealing. See, the nature of tamoguna is veiling. Veiling, veiling means covering. The nature of rajoguna is projecting. The nature of sattva is revealing. Like, say, when it is very cold, you will see, first, say you are sitting in the home with a banyan. When it is cold, you will wear a shirt. When it is still cold, you will wear a jacket also. If it is still cold, you will put a blanket over you, over the head also, correct? No? So the number of coverings increase or reduce as the cold gets increased. It increases. And the sky is dark and cloudy. There is no sun in the sky. But when the sun comes out, sun shines, and the sun gets hotter and hotter, what happens? One by one, all the coverings will. Wow. Similarly, our ignorant coverings will be removed. They'll go away, go away, go away. All one by one, all the coverings can be removed. There are many coverings. Moha means to identify with the body. Mahamoha means to identify with bodily connections, namely grandfather, grandmother, mother, father, wife, children, husband, grandchildren and all that. And then my other relationships, bandhu bandhav, everything. And also attachment to birthplace. Yeah. Like in this world also, for example, if I, Kolhapur wale koi hai kya, like that I asked once in the class. Immediately 5 boys raised hands. Prabhuji, I'm from Kolhapur. They were saying. And they had a big smile on their face. Then I told them, therefore, Krishna, when you call him, if you connect him to Vrindavan and call, Krishna feels very happy. Because you will see that identity that we feel originally comes from the Lord. There's one famous shloka in Ramayana. People will quote that Janani Janmabhumischa Swargadapi Gariyasi. Some people will use it to substantiate the patriotism. But actually, the meaning is Ayodhya Dham is Lord Rama's eternal Dham. Therefore, Lord Rama's attachment to Ayodhya, Krishna's attachment to Vrindavan is due to the love of the Vijavasis or love of the Ayodhyavasis. And you can't attribute it to our patriotism. If you say our patriotism, you are not belonging to any one country. Every lifetime you change countries. Whereas Lord's Dham is eternal, always existing. So attachment to land, attachment to birthplace, attachment to bodily connections. These things are actually yasyatma buddhir kunda petri dhatuke sadikalatradishu bhavamejjadi yatirtha buddhi salalena karhichit janeshu abhigneshu sayeva gokara. So that verse talks about the mahamoha. Moha, mahamoha, these coverings. So you will see that, those 5 ajnana vrittaya, avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesh, these are all coverings. Like the sasarja agre, antatamishram adikrit, moham, mahamoham cha. Jnana, pancha ajnana vrittaya is the 5 types of ajnanas. Ajnana vritti is the 5 types of coverings over the soul. So this is the main reason why we strongly identify with material body and material world and everything. These are the 5 coverings. Now any of you may ask a question that why Brahmaji created these 5 ajnana vrittis. Actually, the soul has come with a certain program in this world to enjoy. And for facilitating that enjoyment, these coverings are given. And without these coverings, the soul cannot enjoy. Enjoy means he cannot imagine to be enjoying. He's not enjoying, actually he's suffering only. A pig is suffering in the ditch, but his thinking is, enjoying like that. So now, when we read the Shastra, the pure devotees are so powerful that they can penetrate through these coverings, and they can remove this because the knowledge they give is very revealing knowledge. So now we will read 8 lessons from Bhishma Pitama's episode. These are brief. Otherwise, Bhishma's episode is a bigger episode. But here I only given 8 salient points from the lessons. One of you can read that. Or we can read that. You can read it. You can read it, I'll explain. Okay? That's one point. They are also going to send you all in the mobile. You sent it already? Oh, very good. Yes, sent also, yeah. Yes, take this. With another mic is there. Only one at a time.
Okay.
Yes, probably.
The title: Lord always desires to please the heart of his pure devotees. Lessons from Bhishma Dev's passing away. Point number 1. Krishna is free from false ego. Thus he can glorify his devotees himself and derive delight in seeing others glorify his devotees. To spread the fame of his devotee, Bhishma, as excelling Vyasa, all others and himself in knowledge, Krishna wanted Yudhishthira to be pacified by Bhishma's instructions.
Yeah. So there's one verse which talks about Krishna in Adbhuta Karmana. No. Krishna's activities are called Adbhuta Karma. Why it's called Adbhuta Karma? You see, before the battle, one fellow cried. After the battle, another fellow cried. Anybody knows? Who cried before the Kurukshetra battle? Arjuna. After the battle, who cried? No. No. Yudhishthira Maharaj. Yeah. Why Yudhishthira Maharaj said after the battle, due to my Rajya Sukha Lobh, so much war, big war was fought and crores of people were killed. I am the culprit. For me to sit on the throne, so much bloodshed, like that he cried. So Krishna went to pacify him. But Yudhishthira Maharaj couldn't be pacified because Krishna was like the chief authority in making the battle happen. He could not pacify. He tried pacifying Yudhishthira, he couldn't. But you may wonder, Krishna is God, he couldn't pacify? Even God cannot do something. Actually, the super soul in the heart of Yudhishthira told him not to get pacified. But Krishna externally was trying to pacify. So the same person, externally Krishna is telling, cool down, but inside super soul saying, don't cool down. You may wonder how the same person is acting differently. Therefore, Krishna's activities are called Adbhuta Karmana. Adbhuta means wonderful activities. Because he doesn't act without a purpose. He has a purpose. What is the purpose? Krishna had already planned in his mind that although Yudhishthira Maharaj is weeping, he is talking to me. Then he told him to go to Vedavyas. Vedavyas also couldn't pacify him, who is the literal incarnation of all the Vedas. He only wrote all the Vedas, and he couldn't pacify him. Then Krishna told him that you go to Bhishma Pitama. And Yudhishthira and all the Pandavas were getting ready to go. So Krishna told them, wear the best or the costliest of the dresses, wear the golden mukut and all the ornaments, board golden chariots, and go and meet him. So what was in Krishna's mind? Just now in the beginning, in between I was telling you that we should take a peep into the heart of Krishna, I said. Observe Krishna's heart. In Krishna's heart was residing a desire that Bhishma is my pure devotee. And I wish to, just now he's going to leave the planet now. Mrityu, time has come now. But before he leaves, I want to see that he leaves very happily and goes back to Godhead. So Krishna made many plans. One plan he made was, I will go and personally sit in front of him and receive the Vishnu Sahasranam Stotram from him. That was one of Krishna's plans. Another plan was that I wish to see Yudhishthira Maharaj get a KT from Bhishma. Correct, the knowledge transfer. Because, because he is the most learned Kshatriya, experienced Kshatriya. And before he leaves, he should transfer all his wisdom to Yudhishthira Maharaj. That was another desire he had. And also, he wanted to glorify Bhishma as somebody more learned than himself also. Hmm? Sometimes a father says, I am only a farmer, but my son became an engineer, he says. Or a father may say, I am also engineer, my son is engineer, but my engineer son, he went to America, I couldn't go. You may say that. How many of you have seen fathers speaking in a self-deprecating way when they glorify their sons and daughters? You have seen that? Yeah, self-deprecating. They don't mind talking less of themselves and glorifying the sons, because that is how that very relationship is. Like Prabhupada is asking one time to his disciples. He was asking that Haridas Thakur chanted 3 lakh names. Lord Chaitanya chanted only 1 lakh. Sometimes 2 lakh he chanted. How is it that Haridas Thakur surpassed even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in chanting 3 lakh names? And then Prabhupada said, there's one song, जिस सागर को बिना सेतु के फांद सके नहीं राम, कूद गए हनुमान उसी में लेके राम का नाम, हरि से बड़ा हरि का नाम. You heard this? You understood the meaning? Meaning of this is, even Lord Rama to cross over the ocean and go to Lanka, he needed a Setu Banda, bridge. Whereas Hanuman jumped. In one jump, he reached there. So who appears to be greater? Hanuman, because he didn't need the Setu Band. But Lord Rama needed it and he jumped, he says. So Haridas Thakur is great, Prabhupada asked. Or Lord Chaitanya is great. Or he asked, Hanuman is great or Lord Rama is great. And then Prabhupada said, Lord Chaitanya preached only in India, but I am preaching all over the world. What do you say? So Judas got bewildered. And Prabhupada said, don't be shocked. Your father always sees son do better than him. And the son cannot do better than the father without father's empowerment. Father only has raised the son. Like that he said. So in the same manner, Lord Krishna wanted to show the world that my, devotee Bhishma is even better than me. He can actually, share the knowledge which is, possible to pacify Yudhishthira Maharaj. Correct, no? That was Krishna's intention in his heart. He always does that. He always makes his devotee appear better than himself. That is one of his natures. So therefore, externally he was trying to superficially pacify him, but internally, Krishna, as super soul, did not allow him to get pacified. That's the first point he's making here. That he wanted to please Bhishma by being present before him. And he wanted Yudhishthira to be pacified by him, gain knowledge from him. And also, one more important thing. He wanted to please Bhishma by showing that you are very dear grandsons, the Pandavas. You always had a soft corner for them. Now see that actually the war is not yet fully over now. There is little bit of war left. Most of the people have died. Some people are left. But even before the end of the war, because Bhishma is going to leave the body, Krishna wanted to give him the understanding that Pandavas are very soon going to take up the rule of the world. When Bhishma would see them in very beautifully gorgeous, wearing gorgeous dress and ornaments, and Yudhishthira Maharaj shining like a sun and surrounded by his brothers Pandavas, and he thought that Bhishma will feel great pleasure in his heart. And actually it happened. When Bhishma saw the Pandavas, he simultaneously smiled and wept also. He smiled with joy that the rule of the world is going to be in the hands of Pandavas. And also he wept and remembering the sufferings that Pandavas endured. He always wanted to see them rule the world actually. So how intelligent Krishna is, that he exactly does what will please the heart of his pure devotees. Just like, for example, if you go to somebody's place, if they make some eatable for you which you like the most, correct, no? In one lecture I was telling that when I would go, when I was a schoolboy, I used to like this, my mother used to make this potato sabji. But she would make in a kadai like this. And she will sometimes put a little extra heat, and at the bottom it will catch, you know. And when she's removing the sabji, and she would do like this and remove that portion. And that portion I was very fond of. You know. So I used to serve. Now, after I joined the ashram as brahmachari, when I would go home to my native place, my mother will make that and keep it. You know, she would tell me, "You used to like it very much." So I just spoke it in one lecture because the mother's heart always thinks how to please the child. Correct, no? She contemplates on our pleasure. You will see that. That's the same heart Krishna has. How to touch, like we say, I tell you from the bottom of my heart. We say, many times. Bottom of my heart means it actually touches your heart. So Krishna exactly goes to that place and he pleases the devotees. What is the bottommost heart? The desire of the devotees. So I said this. So now recently, it's just a few years, 2-3 years ago, probably somewhere, one house I went, one Mataji had made that one. Prabhuji, in your lecture, I heard you like it, now you can take it now. I said, I'm not young enough to take now. So, but the point is, you will see that even when we are dealing with devotees, if we can not only just serve them, but try to satisfy them, and not only satisfy them, make an effort to please them, then we have a very good chance of, getting close to Krishna. If we can please the heart of devotees. Many times, people may argue that, how do you say I have not done what you said? Okay, sometimes people do something, but they don't do it. Like one devotee, I told him that I have a special guest has come. Please take them for a tour around the temple, show them and come. He said, okay, Prabhuji. So when I came back, after going here and there, I saw the person was in the same place where he was standing in front of the ashram. I asked him, what happened? And I told one devotee, he didn't take you around. He said, Prabhuji, he gave me prasadam, I took it when I came out. Instead of taking me around, he said, see, if you go like this, you climb up the staircase, that's the Pradakshina Marg is there, and behind there is one bridge, and then there is a Balaji temple, you go like this. And if you come down, there is a star. Everything he told me orally. And now you understood, he asked me. I said, yes, I understood. And he went away. Now you do it yourself. So the guest didn't feel so nice. Of course, he did do, he told him how to go, but that was not enough. Another time I told another person the same thing, take him around. So while taking guests around, he was telling, it's getting late for me, I have many services. Can you come fast? And that fellow has got his wife, children, mother, father. See, he is coming to Pune leisurely, one full day he has. And he can leisurely go around. This fellow is all the time urging him to quickly finish off. So that guest was also not very happy. He said, Prabhu, last time I couldn't see the temple. This time I came again. Your second fellow took me around. Only he wants us to do everything fast. And then I understood that we have to put a, tour person taking on tour who's very patient. Then I arranged it. So this person sat with him in Prasad also. We inquired about him, then took him around, talked to him as if the time has stopped. Yeah, he was just available with them. Then that person was very happy. In fact, that person told me, Prabhuji, I have taken this fellow's number. Even if you are not there in Pune, no problem. I have a very good connection now. He's a very good devotee. I will be in touch. I won't disturb you. You can relax now, he said. So that is the type of persons we want. Because he not only served, he not only satisfied, he also pleased. Very amazing it is. So Krishna is a person, he just doesn't do the work, Naam ke vaste, namesake. He just pleases the heart of the devotees. Next point.
Point 2. Krishna contemplates on the desire of his devotees and fulfills them to see them happy. Krishna knew of Bhishma's affection for the Pandavas, and so to please him, he had King Yudhishthir lead a very royal procession to the battlefield so that grandsire could see him in a happy and prosperous condition.
That's what I was explaining here. He decorated them, dressed them very beautifully, and took them to the. He actually Pandavas don't even know why Krishna is telling them to come in golden chariots and dress nicely. Pandavas were like another type of. They were like children. Whatever Krishna would say, they would do it. They were like play toys in Krishna's hands. See, this is the success of any living entity. If we can simply become play toys or instruments in Lord's hands, whatever He says, we just do it, and our lives will become glorious. One time in a school, one teacher took this LKG children, she had decorated them like a butterfly. Behind their what, they had put like a butterfly. In the front, she had put one thermocol letter, like this. So, and she told them there were 2,000 people sitting. She took them from the green room to the stage. So one by one, she was telling them that, E should go first, M should go next, and then O, and then C. Like that, she was telling them, you all go in a row. She had arranged them in a row. She said, see, you should not mix up. You don't just push each other and go. You should go in the same order. So they all went. It was WELCOME. They were all going like this. As soon as they went to the stage and stood up, then all the people, there was a standing ovation. Chak, 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 everybody clapping. And the children looking at each other, we didn't do anything. We just are going and standing like this. And we are getting such an applause. So they were talking to one another after they came back into the green room. Because they didn't speak anything, they didn't dance also. They just stood up, that's all. Their only qualification was what? Anybody knows? Of course, they showed welcome. They listened to the teacher. They cooperated with the teacher. That's their qualification. Imagine, if W ran this side and E ran that side, O ran this side, it'll all be messed up. Nobody will be happy with that. Similarly, if all living entities cooperate with Lord's plan, the whole world will be a happy place. But they don't cooperate, that's a problem. So we have to learn to cooperate. Like many of us, in the beginning stage of our spiritual life, you will see that we felt some zeal or some kind of, thrill in spiritual life when we came. In the early days, I am saying, you met some devotee, you ate some prasad, you saw darshan, and went for yatra and everything. Then we developed a desperate desire to get initiated because we understood that I don't want to suffer in this cycle of birth and death. I want to go back to Godhead. Many others have got initiated and everything. I have to go. So then even up to the point of initiation, one comes. But after initiation, you find many people think that I already have a ticket back to Godhead. They think like that. Now I don't have to, I can now go slow. So many people then become casual, then careless in spiritual life, and then over a period of time, degradation sets in, and they become somewhat dull and complacent, and their life, then spiritual life takes a kind of backseat, and then materially one becomes motivated, and then the taste in spiritual life goes away over a period of time, and one is just doing the rock bottom minimum 16 rounds over, that's all. And most of the days they don't read, they don't chant, they don't develop in their spiritual life, which is a very sad state. So therefore, for us to actually, we cannot chant the holy names with great joy. And for example, when you're taking prasad, ask yourself, do you eat prasad as a duty or you eat with enjoyment, honestly? Correct, no? You enjoy eating prasad, isn't it? Especially on a festival day, isn't it? And there is pulao, kadi, rasamalai, puran poli, varieties of items, big plate. You make a very nice plate, and when you come and sit, you are totally on samadhi on the plate. You don't even know who is next to you, who is all around you. You don't bother about anybody, correct? No? How much absorption we have? So we do that, with full joy we do, correct? No? In the same manner, chanting is also like that actually. See, Krishna, when he comes in this world, he enjoys himself performing pastimes, and he also gives enjoyment to other living entities. For example, you will see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu relished the Radha Bhav. He explained, he experienced it himself, and he also distributed to others. In the same manner, a devotee practicing Krishna consciousness enjoys Krishna consciousness and also pleases Krishna. It is not that, some people think like, chanting means I have to do chanting because Krishna has the key to door of Goloka. This fellow has the key, what to do, and I have to chant his names. Please open the door and let me in. That kind of attitude is a very wrong attitude. Actually, we have to, every part of spiritual life, we don't use the word enjoy, we use the word relish. We have to relish chanting, we have to relish reading, we have to relish the association of devotees. It's not a duty. It's not just done as a duty. Maybe in the beginning it is duty, in the early stage, when Guru has ordered me, so I am doing it. Otherwise, over the years, if you are not relishing, we can't go on for a long time. If you have to go on till last breath and beyond, you have to really relish the joy of. So we give, that means when we feel joy, Krishna also feels very happy, my devotee is joyful. So you experience joy and you give joy to him also. Because Anandamaya Abhyasat, we say the Lord and the soul both are very joyful by nature. They are very, very cheerful. Once His Holiness Devamrit Maharaj had come to Bombay, he was telling, while chanting, why you people are twisting your face so much? He was telling, somebody is jumping up and down, somebody is running. Hare Krishna is just, he said it's very joyfully performed, he was telling. His Holiness Hanumant Prekshaka Maharaj came to Pune. So he was also watching in the morning time. Then he said, see, if you are going to chant horribly, horrible chanting means, full of mind wandering here and there and worrying about the past, lamenting about the past and fearing about the future and making plan for the whole day, whole week, and here and there, some or other chanting is over. He said, if you're going to horribly chant, when you go back to Goloka, Krishna will look very ugly, he said. And you'll be shocked. Krishna, I heard you are possessed of all six opulences. I heard you are so beautiful. Why do you so ugly? Look ugly. Krishna will tell you that this is how you called me. Therefore, I am very ugly. And then you may ask, how long I have to live with you? For eternity, you have to tolerate me. He's very humorous, So then devotees are looking at it. Don't worry, Krishna is always beautiful, he said. Of course, you can't enter there unless you call him very lovingly, he said. So the idea is Krishna rejoices in being humble. Actually, Krishna's enjoyment comes from serving devotees. Like we say, Bhokta Ram Yagya Tapasam, we say. How is the Bhokta? He is Bhokta because his enjoyment actually comes by serving, satisfying, pleasing devotees. That is the main root enjoyment comes from him. He doesn't enjoy by bossing over anybody. Unfortunately, in conditioned stage, our enjoyment comes from controlling others or bossing others foolishly. That only frustrates us. Like we think I'm apex in the pyramid and things like that. But Krishna enjoyment comes from serving, satisfying, pleasing devotees. So, therefore, Krishna and Adbhuta Karmana, I said. Next point.
Krishna being a Dina Bandhu and Bhaktavatsala, he knows the innermost desires in the heart of his devotees. Thus he fulfills them at appropriate times and touches their hearts and souls. Bhishma saying, these are the words of Bhishma, the Supreme Lord is equal to everyone, and yet, since I am his unflinching servitor, he has graciously appeared before me now at the time of death. At the moment of death, let my concentration be upon Lord Krishna, who was Parthasarathi, held a whip in his right hand and the reins in his left while carefully driving Arjuna's chariot. I was present during Maharaj Yudhishthir's Rajasuya sacrifice when Lord Krishna was worshipped as a foremost personality. I always remember that incident just to keep my mind upon the Lord. Now, however, I am so fortunate to be able to meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna with full concentration, for he has so kindly come to stand before me at my last hour.
Tribhuvana Kamanam Tamala Varnam Ravikara Gauravarambaram Dadani Papuralaka Kula Vritananabjam Vijaya Sake Ratirastumena Vadya. So this is the song Bhishma is singing. Actually, in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, when Bhishma saw Krishna riding the chariot of Arjuna, he saw Krishna holding the ropes of the horses, and like that they would say for the horses, correct? No, he saw Krishna was making sounds with his mouth, and wearing the pitambar, his body bluish like a sapphire, with his mukut and kundal and his eyes like lotus petals. When he saw this transcendental beauty of Krishna, he was charmed in that particular form of Parthasarathi. This is the meditation of Bhishma. Actually, every devotee has a particular meditation of a form. For Yashoda, Krishna, she sees Krishna as her darling, who is in the forest of Raja herding the cows and calves, sometimes lying in the lap of the cowherd boys, and or eating the lunch in the bank of Yamuna. That is Yashoda's meditation. Similarly, Radharani's meditation of Krishna is Shyam Sundar form, threefold bending form, playing on his flute in the Kadambakan forest under the Vamshiva tree. So that is Radharani's meditation, if you see. Markandeya Rishi's meditation is Vatapatra Shai Krishna, who is lying in the banyan tree leaf. That is his meditation. So different devotees meditate on Krishna in varieties of poses and forms in Vatsalya Rasa or Madhurya Rasa or Sakya Rasa, like that. So for Bhishma Pitama in Virya Rasa, which is the absorption for him, that is Lord in the form of Parthasarathi. As soon as he sees that form, he is charmed by that. Or his another form is Rathanga Pani, lifting a wheel above his head and charging towards Bhishma. Correct, no? So those forms are the forms of meditation. So he was thrilled by those appearances of the Lord. Now he is lying in the battlefield in an arrow bed. Arrow bed, you can imagine how painful it must be. It's like, thousands of needles pricking on your back. At that time he's singing this song. Tribhuvana kamanam tamalavarnam. He's singing that, the Lord's body is bluish like a tamal tree. And his beauty attracts all the three worlds. Tribhuvana kamanam means attracting. Tamalavarnam. And then he's saying his dhoti is like a dazzling golden yellow. This is noticed by various personalities, like our Yajnik Brahmana's wives also are saying that. Shukdev Goswami is saying through their eyes, he's saying, Shyamam hiranyaparidam manamalya varga dhatu pravala natabesham anubratam se vinyastahasta itarena dunananabjam karunotpala alaka kapola mukabjahasam se. They are saying, Shyamam Hiranya, Lord's bodily color is Shyamam. Hiranya Paridam means like a dazzling golden dhoti, he is saying. Vanamalya Barha is wearing a Vanamala on his neck, which is of 5 flowers, forest flowers. Barha means the peacock feather. Dhatu Pravala means they use this minerals from the Govardhan for decorating the, like they put the designs for the Lord below the eyes, you must have seen. Natavesha means he looks like a dancing actor. They are saying. Anupratamsi is not alone. He is surrounded by his covered boyfriends. And with one hand he has put it on the shoulder of a boy. Another hand he is twirling a lotus like this. So when he is twirling the lotus, everybody's minds are also twirling along with that. Dhatu pravala natavesham anupratamse vinyasta hasta itarena dunana nabjam karunotpala means his curly locks of hair, it's very curly. So alaka kapola means it's falling here in the front. Sometimes you see somebody has a curly hair which is falling like this. You've seen that near the ears. It's grown, very fine hair would have grown. So when it is moving in the wind, they are observing this. Alaka kapola. Mukhabja hasam. His mukhabja means his face is like a full-blown blue lotus. So in that also it comes the paridim. Paridim means the Hiranya paridim means the dhoti of the Lord. Same Brahma also says that. Brahma in one prayer, what it was? Now midyate bapushe tadidambaraya. The tadidambaraya, same only Pitambar. That means all many great devotees very finely observe the Lord's decoration. We also, when you go to temple, if you are very attentively observing the lotus feet of Krishna, the dhoti of Krishna, the torso, the body of Krishna, the arms of the Lord, the playing of the flute. Here I find Radha Madan Mohan very fine details, very beautiful. Similar Srimati Radharani. Like one boy was asking, Prabhuji, when you all dress Radha Krishna, who dresses Radharani? So Mataji's dress? He asked. He said, no, we only dress. How can a man, Prabhuji, can dress Radha and Krishna? I said, you cannot actually, therefore the Brahman Diksha is kept. Brahman Diksha is actually, when one gets Brahman Diksha, one should transcend the lower nature in such a way that we do, there's a Bhuta Shuddhi we do. Bhuta Shuddhi means you get rid of the gross and subtle coverings before you enter into deity room. So one should see Radha and Krishna as transcendental, and one should see oneself as beyond genders. You are neither male nor like they say LBTQ. They have different type of so many names. You are beyond all of that. You are not a male, you are not a female, you are not a eunuch, you are not anything. You have only one designation, you are servant. You are servant of the divine couple. In spiritual world, there are only two genders. What are they? Purusha and Prakriti. So all jivas are what? Prakriti. And Lord is Purusha. So Radha and Krishna, you see them as master, you are servant. That's the only relationship. Actually, it is very difficult to explain in ordinary mundane words about our relationship with Radha and Krishna, the divine couple we feel. These things can only be revealed by the mercy of Guru Parampara in our hearts. Like the famous song Radha Krishna Pranamor Vigalakishore. Like he says, Shama Gauri Ange Divo Chandanera Gandha Chamaradulavo Kabe Heri Mukha Chandra. He's saying that when will the time come when I will put chandan to the fair and dark forms of Radha and Krishna? When will I, do chamar for them? He's saying. So he's having a longing to render service. But then he feels that I am not qualified to render that service. Then he says, Lalita Vishaka Yadi Yatasaki Vrinda Agnaya Korivo Seva Charanaravinda. He's saying that I will stand next to Lalita and Vishaka and give them the items of the puja paraphernalia and they will offer worship to you. He's saying, because I am not directly qualified to worship you. But at the same time, I have agreed to worship you directly also. So this is an amazing type of tussle that goes on in the heart of a devotee. Due to fondness, one wants to worship directly. Due to feeling of humility and disqualification, one wants to assist some other devotee who is serving the Lord. In this way, one should develop this mood of being a servant, kinkar, servant of the Lord. Then we will transcend all this male-female consciousness. So once a sannyasi came to our temple, one devotee asked him a question, one boy asked him in the youth program, Maharaj, in the spiritual world, gopis and gopas, do they also interact? So of course they are serving Radha Krishna, everybody knows that, but do they also get a chance to interact? So Maharaj was telling, even if a gopi and gopa hide behind a bush and they talk to each other, they will talk about how to better decorate Radha and Krishna or how to better cook for Radha and Krishna. They have no concept of enjoying independent of the divine couple in the spiritual world. It doesn't just cross the mind at all. They only think of and they don't see somebody as an enjoyable object. They only that I want to enjoy, this mentality only is not there. I am enjoyed by Krishna. Vams Ankikritya Maya Saha Ramasva. Gopal Guru Goswami says this. Mam Ankikritya means, oh Srimati Radharani, own me. Own me and use me in your service by ordering me. This is the mood of every devotee in the spiritual world. So, therefore, the desire to give pleasure to the divine couple is deep rooted in every jiva in the spiritual world. How to please them. So, therefore, the Vedic culture teaches us, invite a guest to your home, make them feel comfortable, give them a sitting place, give them water, cook some nice prasads for them, find out what they like, and they feed them as per their taste, make them happy. Atiti Devo Bhava. Similarly, serve your mother and father also. Serve your mother and father as if they are God. So, Matru Deva Bhava, Pitru Deva Bhava, Atiti Deva Bhava, Nara Deva Bhava. Then one may ask, if everybody is Dev, then my Lord, that means everybody has to be served. Yes, everybody, because the whole idea is ultimately by serving all the living entities, children of God, eventually you'll come to a point where you'll be able to understand how to serve, satisfy, and please that Supreme Lord. Is the next point. Fourth point, sir. So it's called Dina Bandhu and Bhakta Vatsal, correct, no? When Arjuna was going for the war, Krishna felt pity for him. Look at my 5 Pandavas, they are such pure devotees. I cannot leave them alone. Just like mother, father feels, I will go with the child to go to drop him in the school and come. Isn't it? Sometimes parents, even after the boy grows up, still they go. You've seen that? Any of you have seen? Already boy is 12 years old. And the boy is saying, I can go on my own. Still they go. Out of fear that, no, we don't want to send alone or something like that. So Lord also feels that Dina Bandhu means my devotees are alone, I have to help them. So he becomes a charioteer to offer protection as well as guidance also. So that's what he observed. Bhishma observed that, when he sent volleys of arrows son Arjuna, and Arjuna was, the chariot was knocked down, horses were knocked down, Arjuna was out of the chariot. And Krishna saw that Bhishma is mad in sending the arrows. At that is the time he lifted the wheel over his head. Prabhupada says nobody lifts a wheel to kill anybody. Actually, if Krishna wanted Chakra to kill Bhishma, he would have easily got it. Because he killed Shishupal. Is it difficult for him to get a Chakra? No. But this is a play, Leela. He's taking a Chakra and running towards Bhishma, just like a gesture of I am going to attack you. And that was very pleasing for Bhishma. So Bhishma had tears in his eyes saying that, look at my Lord Parthasarathi, how he is defending his devotees, how he protects his devotees. Now I have a great hope that I am also his devotee, he will protect me too. He will surely, do the needful for me. And as per his expectation, Krishna came and sat in front of him. Just before leaving his body, looking at his beautiful form, he spoke Vishnu Sahasranama Stotra. The questions were asked by Yudhishthir, and Vishnu Sahasranama was spoken by Bhishma Pitamaha, and it was heard by the self-same personality of Godhead, Krishna. So, in this way, he says in that verse that exactly at the time of my leaving, he has come to give me darshan so that I will remember him. I will not forget him and I can go back to Godhead. So he's very grateful.
Krishna is mighty enough to perform all acts alone himself, but he becomes subordinate to his devotees and performs pastimes with them to delight in their company. Krishna is all powerful and self satisfied. Being the leader of devotees, he enjoys and gives transcendental pleasure by descending into material world. May his supremely beautiful body, which attracts everyone within the 3 worlds, be the object of my complete attention, so that I can give up all desires for fruitive results.
Yeah. Somebody may say, why should this big war, 18 days war? Krishna is anyway God. Just take one chakra and finish the business. Isn't it? Is it difficult for him? Then the Mahabharata will be only 1 page only. Krishna took the chakra and finished everything. But you will see, somebody may ask, what is the need of driving the chariot and giving advice to Arjuna? Sometimes Pandavas are defeated, sometimes Kauravas are defeated, all these complications and everything. Actually, we may not understand why is he doing this. In fact, Lord takes a lot of trouble also. Many times devotees take vows and the Lord has to fulfill those vows. Yeah, Lord told Bhima that you took a serious vow that you will you will kill Duryodhana, you will remove the heart of Dushasana. And many things he had taken a vow. Because Duryodhana told Draupadi to sit on his thighs. He said, I'll break these thighs. He had taken a vow. So and Krishna had to fulfill all those things. At one point of time, Yudhishthira Maharaj, when he got severely wounded in battle with Karna, immediately he was brought back to the backside tent. That time Arjuna also came fleeing to that place. He came. He asked, brother, how are you now? So Yudhishthira Maharaj asked, hey, it was a very good momentous hour. Did you finish Karna? He asked him. He said, no. Then why are you coming to see me? I am already being taken care by others. You lost a good opportunity now. What a fool you are. Give up your Gandiva Bhav. Like that he said. So that was shocking to Arjuna, because Arjuna had taken a vow that anybody tells me to give up Gandiva Bhav, what I will do? On the spot he will kill them. That is the vow he had taken. They will be immediately finished. But can he kill his brother? Therefore Arjuna's whole body was trembling. And he was very, very agitated and very angry. Then he removed his sword like this. And Krishna asked, what are you going to do? He said, I don't care who says what. If somebody says, give up the Gandiva, I'm supposed to kill him. Krishna said, how can I kill your elder brother? He's Agraj, eldest brother. Then Arjuna was also confused. What am I supposed? What is dharma for me? So Krishna told him, you chastise him. For a Kshatriya, sambhavitasya chakirtir, maranadatrichate, he said. So chastise him. Then Arjuna started left, right, center chastising Yudhishthira. He said, what is the use? You being eldest brother, you played a gambling match and we lost all our kingdom. You were so foolish that even you kept your own wife on stake. And because of that, we had to face this adogati, being away for 13 years in the forest. Now we are not even able to get the kingdom back, having released it. In the name of following dharma, you led all of us into all these different type of troubles. And when he said that, Yudhishthira started loudly crying. Correct, whatever you are saying is correct. He was already feeling guilty. Now after hearing all these things, Yudhishthira loudly cried. So in this way, after Arjuna having spoken all these things, Yudhishthira Maharaj sat down and told Krishna that I don't want this Raja Padavi. I don't deserve it. I am a great sinner. And because of me only, all people are suffering. Now Arjuna has kindly clarified everything. Krishna said, no, my dear king, for you only this battle is being fought. You have to rule the world. You are Dharmaraj. And you are upholding Dharma. Do not worry. Krishna took a lot of time to pacify Yudhishthira. After Yudhishthira was pacified, he understood that I am doing under the guidance of sages and Krishna and everybody. He was consoled. By the time Arjuna was again taking the sword, Krishna asked, what are you doing? He said, I am going to cut my head, he said. After having insulted the brother, who would want to live in this world? Then he took another big class for Arjuna also to pacify him. So you will see that somebody may say, why Lord should struggle so much? Instead of all these things, he himself can finish the whole army. You see, first point is mentioned, the Lord enjoys, what is that? Lord is mighty enough. Lord is mighty enough to perform all acts alone. Fourth point. But he becomes subordinate to his devotees and performs pastimes with them to delight in their company. That's the main point. Just like you see, Lord Rama is asking the monkeys to come with him to go to Lanka, correct? It's 9:10, he must be very hungry also. In 5 minutes I'll finish, Prabhu. 9:15 I'll finish. Now monkeys may ask Lord Ram, can we do some service for you, my Lord? Imagine Lord says, I just blocked the artery of Ravana and caused him heart attack and he's finished now. Very soon I will send a plane to bring Sita back. Then all the monkeys will be, then what are we supposed to do? Sab log taali bajao. That's all. If the Lord says like that, then do you think devotees will be happy? Therefore, Lord knows that devotees want to do some seva opportunity. So he's asking them, oh dear Vanaras, how will we cross the ocean? Can you please build a Setu Bandha for you? Then all the Vanaras are saying, we are very happy to do. Our hands are itching for service now. We will bring big boulders and put. And after that, the Lord is asking, can you please help me fight the battle against Ravana? And they all fight. So devotees also feel the joy of doing some service and gaining some opportunity to serve the Lord, and that thickens their affection for the Lord more. And also by depending on the devotees, when Lord depends on devotees affection for the Lord is multiplied. When a superior person depends on an inferior person for help, then it charms the heart of the devotees. Plus Lord's relationship, Lord also gets to share the enjoyment with the devotees. His very presence is joyful for the devotees in their midst. So this is called Leela, we call it. That's the fourth point. Next point.
Lord enjoys bodily decorations suitable to exchange a particular rasa, matching with the mood of love of a particular devotee. While driving Arjuna's chariot upon the battlefield at Kurukshetra, Lord Krishna's hair turned grey because of the dust that was raised by the hoofs of the horses, and because of his hard labor, beads of sweat moistened his face. He enjoyed all these bodily decorations, including the wounds that were inflicted by my sharp arrows.
Yeah. Actually, we should observe the deities very attentively, the forms of divine couple, Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. Sometimes for children, we do one test. We ask them to go and see the altar and come back to the class, and we ask what was the color of Krishna's dhoti, Krishna's Angavastra. Was Krishna wearing a mukut, cloth mukut, or we have this type of big mukut. What was he wearing? Similarly, Radharani's dress, Radharani, what was she holding in the left hand, in the right hand? We ask, and what was the necklace color? So, of course, the children, some of them recollect. So, the idea is, to the degree you meticulously observe, because the dhyayato vishayan pumsa we say, no? Spiritual items, you observe them with attentiveness and affection. They will enter our mind and heart. And actually, you see them standing there as deities, but actually as the kirtans pick up, as one hears the kirtans, one studies the scriptures, all the pastimes of Vrindavan will be revealed to a devotee. In the same form, we hear in Krishna book, Krishna is going to forest, and the gopis are meditating. You will see your deities are going to forest. Your own, in that form in which you are seeing him. That is the beauty of the path of spiritual life. The things will become connected. The deity which you are very attached to, in that form you will see Krishna performing all the activities. So therefore here, in the particular form he wanted to see, and Lord gave him that darshan. Next point, sixth point.
Lord deals sweetly with one devotee to charm the heart of another. Bhishma. In obedience to Arjuna's command, Lord Krishna had entered the battlefield, and by his merciful glance, he shortened the lifespan of the enemy warriors. Let my mind be fixed upon that Lord Shri Krishna.
Yeah, correct. So, see, he deals sweetly with one devotee. He knows very well, if I deal with devotees sweetly, and that will charm the heart of other devotees. Like Krishna is washing the feet of Sudama in the palace of Dwaraka, Then all the courtiers, the men and women, they are looking at each other. Look at our master. He's washing the feet of this poor Brahmana. Kim manena kratam punyam avadutena bhikshuna. Like that they are saying that, what punya this fellow has done, this Brahman. He has skinny body, bony body, and he has tattered clothes, and his feet are being washed by him. Long live Krishna. Like that they are saying. In Tamil also there's a song, Pallanda Pallanda Pallayirattand. There's one song which says, may Lord live long, long life. You may ask, who are you to give blessing to Lord? Of course, devotees are giving blessing out of love. For the Lord, they are giving blessing. So in this way, you find Lord deals sweetly with devotees to charm the heart of other devotees. So that is the very nature of his Leela. Like, for example, when Krishna was bound by Yashoda, in the grinding mortar, then he came from the backyard of the house, outside, just like this is backside of the house, right? So he came from the backside and he started crawling towards the two trees. At that time, he looked up at the sky like this, stood up, and in the skyway, hundreds and thousands of demigods were all watching. They were all talking to each other. See, the demigods very much take part in Lord's Leela. Like they are coming to Devaki and encouraging Devaki and telling, don't worry Devaki, very soon Lord will appear. They are giving her assurance also. And after the Lord appears, they shower flowers. They keep on giving, they even keep giving suggestions to Lord also, kill the demon very quickly, don't delay. So demigods are very actively involved. So when demigods are watching, what is he doing? Now he is bound by Yashoda now and he is coming behind the house, coming. So with the grinding mortar tied, Lord was watching up. and smiling at all the demigods. So now one of the acharyas has commented about it. He says that generally if a thief is handcuffed like this and is walking in the road with the police, most of the thieves will be hanging their head down. You have seen that? Why they hang their head down? In shame. And also they don't want others to see their face. Especially if they are taken in their own town. It will be very shameful for them. They put their head down. But here Lord is also bound by granting martyr, but he is seeing up without any shame. Acharya asking why? Because he wants to tell the devatas that you guys are all karma mishra bhaktas, you are stuck in this world. See Yashoda, she is a pure devotee. And by her pure devotion, she has bound me. And even you all have the same opportunity to become a pure devotee like her. And just see, it is called as Vrityavashyata, we call it. Vrityavashyata means I become bound by devotees' love. Because you guys are not aspiring for that love, you can't bind me. But she has bound me. At least learn a lesson from her. Like that the Lord is declaring to them. Before delivering Nalakuru Manigriv by going between the trees. And another amazing thing in this pastime is, after breaking the two trees, Nalakuru Manigriv got Uddhar, liberated. And they got their beautiful bodies and offered prayers and went. But the Lord himself was bound. He was bound to the grinding mortar. Still he delivered Nalakuru Manigriv. You can imagine. So that means, even on a liberated platform, Lord was bound by love. He is always in a liberated platform. So in this way, he deals sweetly with one devotee, like Yashoda, to charm the heart of all others. Read the seventh one. Actually, therefore, one devotee gets attracted, like, Yudhishthira Maharaj heard about Lord Narasimha's dealing with Prahlad, and he said, wow, I don't have any devotion like Prahlad. So other devotees get inspired to become more serious by that. Yes, seventh one.
Krishna broke his promise by lifting the wheel of the chariot because it was Bhishma's desire. Bhishma, when I heard about Krishna's trick of taking away 5 arrows, I angrily vowed that he would have to violate his promise by taking up weapons or else witness the death of his friend. The next day, when I proceeded to put Arjuna into great danger, Krishna was forced to pick up a broken chariot wheel to save him. Of course, with Lord Krishna upon his chariot, there was no possibility that Arjuna could have been killed. But because I had desired to make him break his promise, the Lord created such a situation. Indeed, Lord Krishna was very pleased by my chivalrous behavior, although his body was smeared with blood due to the wounds caused by my sharp arrows.
Two important lessons here. One is about, when Bhishma was inquired by Yudhishthira Maharaj about dharma principles, Raja Dharma, Stri Dharma, Varnashram Dharma, Paradharma, all those things. Just before he began to speak, somebody giggled. And Bhishma asked, Draupadi, are you laughing that I am going to speak on dharma? That I sided on Duryodhana's side and fought the battle on a sinful side? Who am I to speak on dharma? Are you laughing because of that? He asked. Draupadi didn't say anything. She kept mum. Then Bhishma said, but don't worry, Draupadi. All the impure blood that I got by eating the salt of Duryodhana have been squeezed out from my body by Arjuna's arrows. Now I have become purified. Therefore, probably Krishna has allowed me to speak on dharma, like that he said. Many people in India say that, correct, now we have understood. This is the actual reason. Is it correct reason? Is it the reason? If you think it is the reason, it is sinful actually. Because it's a pure devotee. Therefore, pure devotees always speak low about themselves. That's like Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings, Amara Jivan Sada Paperata, and all he says. We should not think what they are saying is true about themselves. The actual truth is, he fought on the side of Kauravas only for one reason. Why? Yeah? Krishna, he wanted to experience the Viryaras with Krishna. Krishna wanted it. When Krishna sent Pandavas and everybody to this world, he told Pandavas, you will be on this side, Kauravas will be on this side, and he told Bhishma, you also go to this side. Naturally, Bhishma must have asked, my lord, I am your devotee. Why don't you keep me with Pandavas? He says, no. It's my desire you be on the side of Kauravas so that we both can fight and I can enjoy the Viryaras. Just like a king appoints a wrestler to have Malyuddha Kushti. and all the queens are laughing, ministers are laughing. It's not an enemy. Yeah, regular appointed by the king is paid his monthly salary also. But just for the fun of the king. Similarly, Lord wanted to have Bhishma on that side, just to enjoy the stunt with Bhishma. Prabhupada explains it in teachings of Queen Kunti very nicely. So, a devotee will take villain role or, devotee role, whatever role Lord wants. As per the, you all know Jai Vijay were sent to this world, no? Lord told them, would you like to go for 3 lives as demons or 7 lives as devotees? Which one you will choose if you are given chance? 3 lives as demons or 7 lives as devotees? 7 lives. That's what they also preferred in the beginning, 7 lives as devotees. Because they said that being a devotee means in spiritual and material not much difference. It's a very similar lifestyle. But then they understood Lord's desire is to have Viriras fulfilled. Again they came to Lord and said, my dear Lord, we don't mind becoming your enemy for your pleasure. We are ready. But you bring us back to your lotus feet again. Like one day in my home when I was a small kid, my father used to tell, he would lean this side and he would tell me to walk over his body, on the shoulder, hands, legs, everything, and again going back and forth. So my neighbor came and said, hey, you are offending your father, walking on his body. But me and my father were smiling. We had no problem because I know that he has asked me. For his pleasure, I am doing it. Of course, after I grew up a little bit more, then he told me, don't walk, do like this. And I will do like this. So I will do what he says, correct now? I am whose servant? I am a neighbor servant or father's servant? That's why Jai Vijay agreed. Okay, if you want us to fight with you, we will fight. If that's what gives you pleasure. But in spiritual world, it's very difficult for them because that thick love in the spiritual world, there's no illusion at all. Even if Lord says, hit me, beat me, they cannot do that. At the most, they will take a lotus and throw it. Therefore, the Lord brought them here, as if to put them in illusion and have the enjoyment of fighting. And last point. 8th point.
Krishna shows extra favor to his devotees. Bhishma, the Supreme Lord is equal to everyone, and yet since I am his unflinching servitor, he has graciously appeared before me now at the time of death.
This point I told you. I am his unflinching servitor. This is the joy of a devotee. So in that purport, Prabhupada writes one point. Please all of you repeat this. The living entity is so made by the will of the Lord that he experiences utmost happiness while putting himself in a state of absolute dependence. Prabhupada writes that. Such a beautiful statement. The living entity is so made by the will of the Lord that he experiences utmost happiness. When do you feel full bliss? Body, mind, soul, all are like completely, blissful. When do you experience that? He says, in a state of absolute dependence. Now, when we depend on the Lord, we experience bliss. When we become independent, we suffer. Bada dukha payachi swatantra jivane, it is said. Swatantra jivan doesn't give happiness. Aligning with the will of the Lord gives the utmost happiness. So Pandavas never suffered in the true sense because spiritually they were blissful. Materially they may be put into turmoil. But they were always surrendered souls to Krishna. So very beautiful pastime it is. All these 8 lessons on Bhishma. It helps us to get a glimpse of Krishna's heart. What type of nature he has. Actually, we have to study the pastimes like this because if you study each of the pastimes of the Lord like this, Lord will become one of your relative in your life, just like you feel for your mother or father or brother or sister. Actually, Lord makes such intimate connections with his devotees. Like you see with Arjuna, Krishna gave his sister to marriage with Arjuna, Subhadra. Why? Then he becomes brother-in-law to Arjuna. He can feel the intimacy. Correct, no? Like that. Similarly, for Pandavas, if you see Krishna's father is brother of Pandava's mother. Pandava's mother is Kunti. And Krishna's father is Vasudeva. Vasudeva and Kunti are brother and sister. So naturally, the very strong cousin bond is also there. So Lord purposefully did like that in order to make the devotees feel even more intimate. So he because with those whom he loves, he does this kind of things. His activities are very wonderful, and his behavior is so charming. And when his endearing behavior is meditated upon, gradually the quality of our chanting will improve. Because whom are you calling? Oh Shrimati Radharani, who is the supreme servitor of Krishna. Oh Krishna, all attractive. Please accept me, engage me in your service. I am your eternal servant. Please do not forget me. Do not, deprive me of your association and service. So this is a mood in which we have to call the holy name. So many times you will see in our blood relationship, we are very attentive to know all details. Like, mother knows where is mole in the body of a son or a daughter when they are small children. Even we may not know. Mother, father, they know it. About what sabji they like, what dress they like, everything they know. In the same manner when it comes to Krishna, the more we study these pastimes with details and try to understand the nature of the Lord, His qualities, His pastimes, then, it will permeate every aspect of our life. So morning to night, Lord will become Lord will occupy our heart. And in that state of consciousness, it's very easy to practice spiritual life joyfully. Shri Prabhupada ki, Bhakta Vrinda ki. Thank you very much.